Marvel Spider-Man 2 wasn't just another big release, it was the game of 2023. The anticipation leading up to this launch was unreal. I was so hyped, I even tried chasing that platinum trophy while juggling brutal YouTube deadlines. Spoiler alert, I failed miserably. That earlier obsession was so hot, but somewhere along the line, that passion started to cool down. On repeat playthroughs, something fell off. Not bad, just less than what I expected. And yet, despite all of that, Spider-Man 2 has never left my gaming console. It just sits there. There's something oddly comforting about swinging through digital New York. The music or podcast in the background just hits home. It is my go-to game whenever a video I post on YouTube flops. I've had conflicted feelings for Marvel Spider-Man 2, but now I am swinging in fully, pun intended. This is my deep, honest breakdown of Spider-Man 2, where it soars, where it stumbles, and how it compares to its predecessor, and more importantly, where I think Insomniac still has room to grow. This is my love-hate relationship with Spider-Man 2. Let's start with what the game gets so right. Movement. Swinging through the streets of New York, either as Peter or Miles Morales, is an experience that's practically euphoric. The physics, the momentum, the new web wings are pure joy. Compared to 2018's Marvel Spider-Man, the traversal system is faster, more flexible, and visually even more stunning. The addition of wind tunnels and gliding sequences with the web wings adds an exciting layer of traversal that wasn't present in the original game. There's a greater sense of skill and fluidity on display. Here, Insomniac clearly learned from the first game and built upon it. The visuals are next level to say the least. Insomniac's New York is a living, breathing playground. Every street corner tells a story, from rooftop sunsets to rain-soaked alleyways. It is a love letter to the city and the fans. But for every high point, there is a noticeable dip. Game's technical polish is occasionally marred by odd bugs, floaty animations, or pacing hiccups. And for all its graphical fidelity, certain open world elements feel dated, copy-pasted, and uninspired. These were problems which Spider-Man 2018 was criticized for, and clearly this sequel didn't fully solve. Now let's talk about the story. This game hooks you early like a Mr. Beast video. Venom's arc is one of the most compelling Spider-Man villain stories we have ever seen in gaming. The game delivers some truly cinematic set pieces, full of stakes and emotions, and when it works, it really works. The dynamics between Peter and Miles is electric. Watching them balance personal growth, grit, and their heroism, credits where it's due. There is some powerful writing here. In comparison to 2018 Spider-Man, which centered largely on Peter's struggle with responsibility and loss, Spider-Man 2 tries to balance two coming-of-age arcs simultaneously. It feels bolder, more ambitious, and more character-packed, but that also leads to more narrative juggling, and then it sputters, like Lizzo on high heels. Here's the thing, for all its bombast, Spider-Man's 2 story feels strangely hollow at times. Certain emotional beats don't land. Characters pop in and out with little development. Some side characters feel forgotten. Peter's descent into the symbiote's influence is compelling but feels rushed. Miles Morales' personal arc is strong but undeserved. The game juggles too much and ends up dropping the balls it never picks back up. Whereas 2018 Spider-Man had a tighter and more focused narrative, particularly in its final act, where the emotional stakes around Aunt May, Otto Octavius, and Peter's double life converged perfectly. In contrast, Spider-Man's 2 climax feels overstuffed, with multiple characters struggling for resolution, not the 4K 60 FPS one. It's like watching a beautifully shot movie where you still do not feel much. The game wants to be heartfelt, but often misses the intimacy that made the first one resonate, which brings us to the main meat of the game, combat. This is where the cracks start to show. Don't get me wrong, webbing enemies to walls, flipping through the air, using flashy gadgets, it looks incredible. But the problem is, it rarely feels new. Most fights play out the same way they did in the first game, just flashier. The symbiote powers are fun at first, but quickly lose their impact. Enemy variety barely improved. Boss battles, hit or miss. Please, where is the evolution? In a sequel that had this much hype, the combat should feel refined, not recycled. Spider-Man 2018's combat was praised for its responsiveness and variety, while Spider-Man 2 adds more powers and combos to the option, but they often lack the tactile satisfaction of the original's carefully tuned mechanics. The pacing of the fights can feel bloated rather than tactical, and stealth, which was once a quiet highlight, now feels like an afterthought. If you are someone who loves side content, Spider-Man 2 has plenty to offer, and that's both a blessing and a curse. Some side missions are genuinely memorable. They feel emotional, grounded, and human, while some just feel like busy work. Fetch quests, repetitive crimes, and bland collectibles. All of this hold back what could have been an emotionally rich open world. Spider-Man 2018 suffered from the same issues, but at that time, it was fresh. This time around, the formula is more transparent. The new side content rarely breaks new ground, and while the map is bigger, the variety isn't. And this makes you feel the tension between quality and quantity. The devs clearly wanted to flesh out the world, but not every thread is worth chasing. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a gorgeous, ambitious, heart-pounding sequel that somehow feels like both a huge leap forward and a cautious step backward. It gives moments of pure awe and just as many moments of frustration. It reminded me why I fell in love with Spider-Man games and why I sometimes fall out of love just as fast. Compared to Marvel Spider-Man 2018, this sequel dares to go bigger, louder, and more emotional. But in trying to outdo its predecessor in scale, it sometimes loses the tight character focus and polish that made the original so special. I want to love it unconditionally, but the truth? This is a game I admire deeply and argue with constantly. And this is the thing about great art. It isn't always clean or perfect, but when it hits you just right, it is unforgettable. And in the end, that is what Marvel Spider-Man 2 truly is. Unforgettable. Please, if you enjoyed this video, kindly hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell icon, so you can get notified when I post new videos like this, as I am desperately trying to get to 1K subscribers by the end of this year. And until next time, peace and love.
Incredible.